Cedar side up. Shifty work into the box. And across. It's in. Oh, it's Loho. It's a dream return.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm your host, Angela Morales, with my forever concert buddy, Mario Salazar, and a very, very special guest, Jax, who is one of the co-owners of the new WatchMe sports bar that's opening up in Long Beach, which is slated to be probably one of the coolest spaces where women's sports are celebrated, friendships are forged, and empowerment thrives, which easily is like the best tagline I've ever seen. So yes. Well done. Woo. The grand opening for Watch Me will be on Friday, July 26th. So to kick off with the Olympics at 4 p.m. So Jax, thank you so much for joining us. I just got goosebumps. I'm so excited to actually have this happen. And oh man, I have big feelings.
Thank you both so much for reaching out and for having me and having the opportunity to get to know you two a little bit better and have a little chat. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think even our conversation pre-recording right now has been just really fun, where I was just like, oh, we should have hit record before this. I think it's been super exciting to see the progress and see what's been happening with what you guys are doing. I know Angela and I have been talking about it for a long time, and Angela
the second I saw someone talk about the possibility of this sports bar, I followed, I shared it. I was like, I need to make sure this happens.
Love you.
For the next generation of Angela at Long Beach State. Like,
that's right.
We talked about it a little before. I am an ex-athlete, an alum of Long Beach State. I love that school so much. I love that community so much. So this for me is like top tier. If you had been a thing in like the early 2000s, I would have worked there, lived there, been there every waking moment I wasn't in school. So this is going to be such a special place for just Long Beach as a community, but just, it's just going to be special. I already have the like good vibes feeling of like, you're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, that's the plan. And we appreciate that. I'm glad you get it. You understand it from a cultural and Long Beach perspective, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's such a rich sports history in Long Beach. For those who don't know, it's a baseball city, it's a volleyball city, it's a water polo city, swimming, basketball, like every sport, track and field. If you go high school wise, you're looking at some of the most prolific track and field programs, basketball recruits, football recruits, volleyball, from high school up, basically. And the sports community is so tight-knit in Long Beach. It's so cool. And you go from that to Long Beach State, which we may be undefeated on the football field since like 91, 92, because we don't have a team anymore. We have dominated in other sports. We've run the Big West for a while, and basketball, volleyball is just top tier in Long Beach. My mom we're recording this on a Sunday, and my mom is driving out there this afternoon to go to the Team USA send-off matches.
Nice.
If I'm in Long Beach, I'm definitely hitting up a sporting event.
And don't you think that part of that is attributed to the vast park system in Long Beach? I mean, It's massive. And
it's accessible.
It's accessible. And we have a lot of kids who are getting out on the field on the weekends and playing and participating and then growing from there. We agree. Long Beach is the right place for what we're doing.
Yeah. I've vomited my background with Long Beach and sports and all the things. Do you have a sports background? Like, how did the idea to do something like Watch Me pop into your head, and how did you get the ball rolling behind this?
So there's several things in that. I'm going to take you back to being like 5 years old, a kindergartner, playing outside at recess and being the one girl that wanted to get into the kickball game. And
yes, we would have been best friends.
You know it. So it started way back then when I just had this kind of, I'm going to call it that athlete mentality and that fire and that drive to just get out there and play. And I was already bucking the system at 5. So then that led into getting my mom to finally convince her to let me, it was okay and safe for me to play AYSO. And so at 9, I got into soccer, which became my love, and played that all through junior high, high school, everything. I did not play college soccer. At the time, there was no women's pro soccer. And I was weighing everything, going, do I pick a school that's got a great soccer system to only have it stop? I ended up making the decision not to try to play college soccer, and instead played in adult leagues, and then went back and tried to play in a 40+ league. And oh my God, was that humbling. I knew I was good when I was younger, but I was far from that. Older. Anyway, so that's that story. So I've had soccer and softball. Softball was also something I used to young. Loved it, played varsity high school softball, and then I played in adult leagues there as well. Those were my 2 sports, but I did some cycling too. I did California Age Ride too, way back in the day. I did Live Strong Ride. I did some stuff like that. And I've always been out there trying to do tennis and what I could do it on the basketball court, which was pretty minimal. I'm small, but whatever it was, I always wanted to be out there. So I have that kind of, that physical drive, have always had that. And then the idea to open the sports bar actually came about when I was in my early 20s, and I'm with a bunch of friends, and every Sunday we're trying to go watch the NFL because we love sports, and we're just made to feel like we're not welcome in these spaces. And I think it was, we could have various ideas of why that was, but it was constant. And I just said back then, and the friends that I have around me to this day are so impressed that I'm finally doing this many years later. But I said, I want to open a sports bar. And back then it wasn't about opening a women's sports bar. That was not a concept. And we'll get on to Jenny and the bra in a little bit. But it was just about having a space where women could go and feel comfortable watching whatever they wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And so that was my concept way back then. And I even went to bartending school, and I was going to partner with a friend who then I think got very overwhelmed. And I was way too young to do this on my own. I didn't have any experience and no money, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I ended up finding my way through various careers, always with wondering what might be if I was in the sports world in some way, shape, or form. And then Jenny opened the sports bra. And as soon as I caught wind of that brilliance, I hit her up, and we started a conversation. And I said, if you ever franchise, you've got to bring it. You got to let me have first rights in Long Beach. And so that was back in 22. That was probably the end of 22 when we first started chatting. And it was all kind of light conversation, always nothing serious, of course. But she knew my interests, and she knew things were, I was like, hey, I think I can do this now. And my wife, Megan, looked at me one day and said, maybe now's the time we open the bar. And so we really started having these conversations more seriously. And then in September of 23, I met with, this was a very interesting and pivotal part of our process. We met with someone who owns franchises and is also a franchisee. So he was able to give us both perspectives. Okay. And he essentially said, why would you do this? Go out and do it on your own. And so we decided, I think like within a day, I started the business, and we decided, okay, we're going out on our own and we're going to figure this out. Neither of us have any idea of what we're doing, but we're going to do it. And that was how it came to be, but absolutely inspired by the sports bra concept.
I think it's so special. Like you said, when you were talking about being in sports bars with your friends, just sitting there, man, it'd be really cool if we felt welcome here. Immediately, I flashed back to a night in college sitting at one of the booths in Legends on 2nd Street with 5 of my male friends, because I helped rebuild the student section when Dan Munson came in for men's basketball. And that front line of students, we were all really good friends to lead the student section. There was one night, half of us were at Legends, and I'm just sitting there looking around, and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching sports. Like, Legends has TVs everywhere in every direction. And I'm the one woman at this table of men I'm still very close friends with. And there was like a new person there, and they're like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm watching the Australian Open or whichever tennis open it was. And he looked at me, he was like, why?
Wow.
And the rest of the guys at the table just went, Like they knew, oh no, he's about to learn today. And I looked at him and I said, excuse me? He was like, why? Do you even like sport? Do you even understand the sport?
Ooh.
And I lit him up. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, it was one of those. First of all, who the hell do you think you are?
That's right.
Second of all, do you know who I am? Like, it was one of those, like, how dare you make the assumption that I don't know tennis or that I don't know football or basketball or any fill in the blank. But that's the first moment I can remember sitting somewhere going, I'm not entirely welcome here as a sports fan. Not from my friends, because my friends jumped on into, do you know who she is? No, nothing about her if you don't know this part. And I sat there and I was livid for an hour, just simmering. Don't stay mad at this. It's just so stupid. But also, this is the dumbest conversation I've ever had in my life. And that moment for me was so pivotal. So once I feel like Jenny really opened the doors for all of the rest of these people across the country now who were like, that's all I've been wanting. How can I do this? Because I think there's a dozen, if not more now, of women's sports bars that have opened, are in the works of opening, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Angela has the map going.
Yeah,
like as soon as when she texts me, there's another one. Here it is.
And repost.
Yeah,
So
there are a lot.
Yeah, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's too many" or whatever. It's not enough.
Yeah,
Not
no.
enough ever. I mean, we should be all over the place, and we're getting there. Everything has to start, right? And I think, in addition to Jenny at the Bra, Jen at Rough and Tumble, she opened, I think, 6 months or so after Jenny did. So the two of them were really paving the way for everybody. So, and then Jillian at a bar of their own in Minnesota, we've gone out and met with her, and we're all coming from the same perspective, which is let's just create this great space. And if you build that type of mentality, we know what we're doing. We know that there's a lot of need out there. There's a huge void, and we're just going to fill it.
Yeah, I know my whole family is super pumped. Apparently, my aunts have season tickets for the Sparks, and they're texting me from the game the other night. What's the name of your podcast? When are you talking to the owner of the Long Beach Sports Bar? Because we're sitting behind people who know them. I have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have no idea who was sitting in front of them. And I was like, okay, Tia, here's the information. So my aunt and her wife have been like hyping up this episode specifically within their friend group because they would have loved this. They played softball for 20 some years. She's going to kill me for even talking about this. But like, it's very integral in our community to like be part of the sports world. I feel like within the LGBT community, there's your theater groups, your sports groups, your artsy folks. There's all these different, like, what are they called in corporate America? Like ERGs or something like that, like employee resource groups. Like, They're different little pods of interests, and sports is so communal for the community that I would have loved this as a kid in general, but I know they would have loved this their whole lives.
And they
so
still
I'm so
can.
excited.
Yeah. Now's the time. So
I'm dragging them there.
Tell us to come on.
Yeah, I'm making sure. I will make sure that should some future collaboration between us happen, that they'll be there, and I'm gonna drag their friends there because they're basically family to me. Yeah, we're gonna have a big Morales contingency at WatchMe.
I love it.
I will say that there's like the other side of, at least on my end of the sports watching at a bar kind of spectrum, I have never felt like being at a sports bar was like a thing. It's just like like too many people, and but I think it's also because of like the general, I don't know if aggro mentality is really the right word, but pretty much, where true to the name of the podcast, I am like the casual. I am the casual fan. I do love sports. I will definitely watch the most random, whatever ESPN is showing at the moment. And during the pandemic, they were showing some interesting sports, fringe sports, right? But I'm like, hey, it's on. I'm going to watch it. And having that experience in a group has always been fun, but there's a certain level of, this is not fun anymore. So hoping that environment is there and going to be welcoming for the casual fans and the fans that want to get into it, right? There's always this amount of gatekeeping that we're like, no, we don't need that. We want to bring you in, bring and come in with the idea of, hey, let's learn about this. Don't just come in with, what is this? Why are we here? It's no, come in with, if you're not you don't have to be a diehard, but learn about, if you're open to learning about it, then yeah, come. And
Yeah.
as long, hopefully that's really and it's not only just saying that's what your space is going to be like, but I'm just talking about the like fan community in general, right? There's the people that want to bring you along, and then there's the people that are like, we've been here since day one, what are you doing? But it's let's find the happy medium.
There's definitely some story around all of that with us. I had to literally turn off my notifications because of the hate that we were getting. And it's unbelievable to me. We're just trying to create this space for women or anyone who loves women's sports to come in and celebrate these athletes. And in all around that is inclusivity. And why is that such a bad thing? My brain cannot understand the mentality of some, and if you want to call it aggro, that's probably a nicer term than I would use. And so I'll leave it at that.
The diplomat here, because I'm the one that's like, how many adjectives can I give you? What words can I use to describe the vitriol that so many of us as fans, business owners, athletes, like women in this space have received?
Yeah, and I'll be
because that's some words for those folks.
I'll be the first one to admit that is not my lived reality, right? Like you guys have a very different lived reality when it comes to, well, honestly, when it comes to just anything, just being women, being like sports fans,
existing.
So there's going to be definitely a gap of what I've been through and whatnot. But I'm with you. I don't understand the conversations at times about just women's sports or just women enjoying sports or the community, or it's we've been on this soapbox before, and it definitely is a trigger moment for both of us. But yeah, come on, people, life would be so much better.
Truly, I think what I've come to in this is you can really see who is an evolved human and who isn't in this process. And Mario, you are evolved. I can see that a mile away. And so we appreciate you and your support and just having that respect. It comes down to human respect. So appreciate you.
I'm going to make that a shirt. Mario, you're an evolved human. Jax.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to make sure he has that to have his wife, like, to play for his wife when she when she gets mad at him.
But wait, Jax said.
Yeah. I have proof. Jax, are you from Long Beach originally, or did you just end up there by chance? What's your connection to the city?
I grew up in LA. My mom is still in the same house in Ladera Heights. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that area.
We're neighbors. I'm in Inglewood.
Okay.
Like born and raised. Yeah. My mom and I own our family's property. So yeah, yay.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up. And I lived all in and around like Playa and Mar Vista. I was all over the place.
Yeah.
But I would always come down to Long Beach with friends. And then ultimately I met Megan, and she lived down here in Long Beach. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to move down there. And I bought a condo. So I think that was about 16 years ago, and we moved in together. And ever since then, it's just been like, why would I ever leave Long Beach? I just love the culture here.
It's so much.
Yeah, you got to come back. But it's just, there's so many offerings. It's beautiful. It's pockety like a lot of areas are. I think there's like this openness mentality more so maybe down here than some other places and cities. And I just love it. And I don't know why I would think of living anywhere else. And so when we were talking about opening the bar, I think there was like a skinny minute where we said, should it be up in LA proper? And then it immediately was like, no, Long Beach is the perfect spot for what we're doing. And that's my thing to Long Beach. I just love it down here.
Yeah. I think doing anything in LA proper, like the very first thing, it's a harsh reality of you got to have parking. You got to have a way for people to get there. And if you don't, it's going to suffer. I think about all the places that I've infrequently have visited in the main kind of downtown area, or I'm just like, wow, it's completely dead during the weekends. But there are people visiting, right? There's people that will go out for these places, but still, also, it's like, what are you going to do? Park in one of the 20 expensive parking lots all over the downtown area? It's just, no. There's so many detractors when you're looking at that. And LA is just so big, and there's great neighborhoods everywhere that it's like, why not just do it where you're at. And also the commute's not going to be that bad for you. I drive an
The
hour and a half
commute
to
is
work.
very easy. Oh gosh, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
There's a reason I don't anymore. So good luck.
Yeah. And in talking about a venture like this and getting into the restaurant business, there's a lot of lessons to be learned about the business itself, but personally, what have you learned about yourself through this, and like with your relationships as the idea behind WatchMe has grown and become more real and now is officially real? Has anything like shifted life-wise for you to be like, oh wow, these were the people that I knew would be there all along? Or have folks been like, this is a crazy idea? Or has everybody really been super just supportive? Hell yeah, this is the time, let's do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's definitely, in any situation where it's like a life-changing event, you see who shows up and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And that has been an interesting thing. There's some that have been more visible than others, and I've been surprised on both sides of that. Carry on and move forward, and you do you and keep making things happen and get the bar up and running. And so there's that side of it. But I think I put a little bit of weight into that and then decided it was time to move on. I gave that enough energy, and now I don't have that energy anymore. But in all of it, I think I've noticed too, I have a freaking fire. I have an unexplained drive and motivation. I seriously don't know how to explain it. And that's really how Watch Me came about, because if we go back to the root, which I think it is this, I was adopted. And so I think from early on, I've had something in me where I feel like I need to prove myself. And then I've seen that show up in so many areas of my life, in so many jobs where I know that I'm being doubted, or if I'm playing a sport, it's because I'm not going to be able to be successful because of my stature. I'm 5'2", and I used to be a rail. And I think I was always I could sense it. I'm also pretty intuitive, and so I pick up on stuff. And so I think I just have always felt that I've had this burning thing to just go out and prove otherwise. And that, I guess, manifested itself in athletics part, and then in other ways too, in other jobs and things. But so I think I've learned a little bit more about my fire. And I've also learned that I've already known this, and it's something I've been working on for a really long time, that I am not the most patient person. And in all of this, I want everyone to be on my timeline and be just as motivated as me to get this done. And that simply is not accurate. And I've had to go, okay, just focus on what you personally can focus on getting done, and do what you can to drive these other people. And for instance, we are pretty behind on our painting schedule. And so that makes me frustrated, but we're still moving along in and around that. So that's one example there. And then I think the other thing that's really become so interesting for us is the kind of empowerment component of all this. We are part of what I'm calling a women's sports bar movement. And I know women's sports is having its own movement, but there's a women's sports bar movement also happening. And for us to be towards the forefront of that, there's a lot of pressure and weight that comes with that. And it feels like we are leading a charge in a way. And we want to make sure that we're creating this safe space, and we're about inclusivity. It's a really big pillar in our business. And so we've learned that we're becoming, and we're evolving. I call us an amoeba. Like, we're evolving into something that we don't even know yet. It's like the community is going to help shape us. We're creating the space, but the community is really going to be shaping what we turn out to be. But we're trying to buck the norm too for restaurants and bars. We have a no yell kitchen policy, for instance, and we're investing in the people that we're bringing onto our team, and we want them to stay and grow with us. And we're hoping people aren't, and we'll see some of this, but we're hoping that most of the team members that we bring on will be along for the ride for a long time with us.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Having worked in kitchens in different ways, having a respectful kitchen environment is big time.
Uh-huh.
Especially, I'm assuming as time goes on, this is going to stay like a very female driven operation. So I'm guessing, fingers crossed, that there's going to be a lot of women going, oh my gosh, I've worked in kitchens other places, and wow, I've never felt so much respect on the job.
Yeah. We're doing like a culture training. That's a big part of what we're doing. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And that's largely led by Chef Charlie Ray, who we brought on pretty early on. We were just talking about this the other day. I thought it was January. She said it was November, which is pretty telling that we started the business in September, and in November we already had found our chef. And some of the things that we've done have been cart before the horse. And I think we wondered a while ago if that was one of them, but now we're learning, nope, that actually was a good thing because we've got this great relationship now that we've built together. And one of the reasons that we loved what Charlie was all about was her kind of cultural stance and her mission to make sure that everyone is equal. And it so aligns with us and how we're approaching the whole business. And so she's been amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Before Mario takes over part of the questions and ideas and conversation leading, how excited are you? Just genuinely.
Oh my God. Every day there are different things happening, and all of this is unknown to me. I'm really leaning on my years and years of experience in operations and leadership and project management to figure out how to get things done and work with people and get to know people and work with their personalities and those things to get what you need. So all that is happening in the background. So I think sometimes I sit back and go, oh my God, when I'm at home right now, but I'm going to go in a little bit. And it's when I walk up each day, it's starting to feel more and more like our space, especially with the exterior painting finally getting completed. And we've got our furniture in there now. And it's just like now, and the TVs are going up. It's just starting to get more real. And I live for the moment of seeing a packed house and everyone cheering together and just like meeting new people and just having fun together. I am so excited for that to happen. And I know it's not going to be just a flash in the pan. It's going to be a constant. And I think there's going to be a lot of community built out of what we're doing. And for those reasons, I've become actually more excited than just creating the space. It's changed over time. But to answer your question, I'm extremely excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm freaking out.
Excited is the bigger umbrella emotion, and then all the little, I'm first day of school excited. I'm, oh my God, what am I doing excited? I'm nervous. Like all of those feelings that go into that. But I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like that anticipation when you're about to go play a game and you've got that nervous energy, and it's just like that. Very much the same.
Yeah, if those butterflies aren't there, then something's wrong.
It's like, how invested are you at that point?
And Jax, just to put you at ease, I'm in the architectural field, and you saying that you're like paint schedules behind schedule, all that. Just know that is like 100% every project I've ever been on. So
that's where I'm saying I've heard this before, how everything's always behind. And as a project manager, I know how to bake in extra time and all this stuff. And I also know to be flexible in my schedule. So you can plan all day long and have the best plan, but you got to be prepared for it to change. And so we're pivoting all over the place. And we know that art very well, and that's fine. But I still say it doesn't have to be behind if blah, blah, blah. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Lessons learned for everyone. Maybe some federation heads and coaches can take note too with rolling with the punches. Not naming names. Okay. You touched briefly on your relationship with your chef, Charlie Ray, and looking at your website, just her background looks amazing. She's Swedish, Black American. Just reading it makes me hungry of her accomplishments. But also we've been following you on social, and so we've seen the little kind of test kitchen photos that you guys have been doing. I'm like, this is looking great. What's your excitement or thing that you're looking forward to with this kind of relationship that you have with Charlie?
Oh, a lot of things. It really has blossomed, and we're calling it, I think the latest thing is upscale gastropub fare. So you're going to have your typical wings and burgers and things that you would at a sports bar, but we're trying to make it a little bit more upscale and focus on sustainability. And that's really Chef Charlie's thing, sustainability and repurposing and reusing all over the place. And things that the things that she has learned in her travels are just amazing. And that's part of what makes her so great, is that she just comes with this bank of knowledge and how to do things in a really cost-effective way, which I really appreciate. And it tastes good. And focusing on the sustainability and local and seasonal products. And then also we have a theme across the operation, which is focus and support on women-owned and operated businesses when it makes sense to do. And so we're doing that in the kitchen where we can. We're doing it at the bar where we can. You'll see a lot of women-owned or operated offerings on our bar menu as well. And we're just doing what we can to go out and support. But Chef has, like I was saying earlier, has really brought along with her this kind of cultural stance. It's really important to us, and making sure that everyone feels included and treats everyone, approaches them by their pronouns, and be respectful, and just make sure that everyone knows that they're equal to everybody else. We're trying to get rid of the hierarchy. And that's that's not just in the kitchen, it's the entire staff. We're trying to do things a little bit differently. And we already have said to everybody, we had our orientation last Monday, and we said, things will change. So be prepared, because we're going to go in with a certain stance, and we may learn that's not really working, into listening to what the team in general has to say. And that's not to say we're always going to make the changes that they might ask us to make, but we will certainly be listening. And Chef is helping us to lead that cultural charge as well. And so she's a very pivotal part of our business.
It just feels like it's very, like, you're creating this from the ground up and realizing that you don't have to do things the way they've always been done.
Yes.
And really leaning into that and being like, really are no rules. And I've been on this, there's no rules mindset for a while to help myself, and there's no rules to the way we're supposed to do things. Everything is all made up. So if something isn't working, or if you don't like the way something is currently established, just do it the way that makes sense, or do it the way that you're comfortable with, because there's no real rules to anything. There's like societal norms, but even those can be shifted, and those are shifted constantly. So it's like, why not?
Yeah. And I don't even have restaurant experience. So I'm bringing something completely different to the table. And no, I guess pun intended. But yeah, I think you're onto something there. Why do we have to follow anything? And that's the fun of being a business owner, is being able to say, hey, we don't want to do it this way. This is how we want to approach it. And Megan and I are very solid in how we want to kind of run things in a way that people feel safe and appreciated, and know that we couldn't be where we are right now without the people that we brought on early on in this process, and that volunteered their time with us early in this process. There's no way we'd be here right now without any of that. And we tell them all the time how much we appreciate them. And that's how we operate. We see it, and we make sure people know. And so we're hoping to, I know we'll continue that, because that's just how we are.
Yeah, the idea of it takes a village, it like applies to everything.
Yes.
And this is very much one of those. Like, you found your community, your people that are propping you up and like cheering you on, and that's half the battle, right? So with all of that, you're opening a bar, you've got to have your favorite go-to drink, cocktail, mocktail, whether you drink alcohol or not. But what's yours? just end it off on the bar talk.
So it really depends on the day, night, time, mood, right? But we shot, I saw that Chef posted this video, and I was like, do I share this to the WatchMe account or not? I'm still on the fence. But we did breakfast shots in bar the other day. I don't know if you guys have ever had those, but I love a good breakfast shot. It's kind of my thing. And so there's a section on our menu called Coach's Choice, and the breakfast shot will be on there. And so we were doing a bit of a taste test the other day, because Chef made her bacon a little bit different than just regular bacon. And so we were doing a taste test. And so I think I would say a breakfast shot is certainly one of them, but I'm in for a really good Bloody Mary when it makes sense. I like a good beer, depending on the mood and where I'm at. And if it's a game, it's usually a beer. I dig some good wine. Definitely love me the whiskey. So you got that in the breakfast shot. I I love sake, for example. It depends where I am, what I'm doing, and spicy
what
margarita
fits the
rocks
mood.
too. So
Yeah.
yeah. How about you guys?
I'm very much a beer and wine side. I like the hard spirits. I can't. There's how do I put that? It's not
Flashbacks?
Yeah, lots of flashbacks. It's the very astringent, the thing like for tequila or vodka, and then like whiskey and like bourbon. It's sometimes it gets into the weird sweetness side of it, and even
Yeah.
that gets me like, oh. For me, I'm very much like, there was a while where I wanted to go through, I know there's a name for it, but like my friend and
sommelier school?
yeah,
Or-
but there's
yeah.
a beer equivalent for it.
Oh.
And legit, my friend and I were like, we were researching it. We were like, all right, we're going to get started. And then I quit that job. And so we still keep in touch, but we're not together every single day. But I really wanted to do that because I was like, yeah, this sounds like fun. Like just as like a side thing. Like if I don't ever reach the top, at least I'm like doing the kind of classes in between. But yeah, I honestly love beer and just how the idea of taking the same simple ingredients but altering one little piece of it changes the profile so much.
Yeah.
So like it's the same basic ingredients, but you can go from like ale to lager. It's fascinating. And so I'm really in that realm for me.
Nice.
I am gluten-free. So, yes, there's gluten-free beer, but I miss like a good Mexican lager. So, I am now a gin and whiskey girl. Like gin when it's hot, whiskey when it's like I'm a lot more chill and I can just hang out.
We're going to be doing flights. So we were having this conversation because we're still finalizing our bar menu, but we know we're
Yeah.
doing something that you feel like you would partake in.
I would be so happy to try. For me, gin is more as like something I add something else to, or I like it really cold. Because like for me, room temperature gin is like not my favorite.
Yeah.
I like perfectly chilled drinks are my favorite thing in the world. But I would, if you need somebody to come test a gin flight, you let me know and I will find my way down. I would
you
love
up.
that.
Nice.
Yeah, gin flights would be amazing. I think too, gin here isn't as understood when it comes to the spirit itself. You go to the UK and all you're drinking is gin.
Yeah.
But
you're
here
right.
it's like a gin and tonic, a gin and soda. I'm like, no, there's a million different things you can do with the gin. You can just drink it on the rocks. There's so many things because it has such a varying flavor profile. So yeah, I love gin. It's also incredibly refreshing and it's not super sweet.
Yeah.
So it's nice in the summertime because you don't get the hangover and then the sugar hangover from it.
I can see you out on our patio now having
Yeah.
a nice gin cocktail. Cold one.
Yes, I'll see you. I will be there. Don't worry.
So with all of this said, opening a sports bar in general, and we've talked about how your sports background is just already there. You're sports minded no matter what. What has been your favorite sports memory, watching or even playing sports yourself? Whether it was like in a big group or at home or in the stadium, wherever it was. What's been like the thing that you're just like, yeah, I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I experienced that.
I have two, and they both surround my parents. So one was watching the Dodgers with my dad. So we're at home, we're in the den, we're watching the game, and it was like the World Series. It was the one where Gimpy Kirk Gibson comes up to bat.
88.
Yeah,
Yeah.
88. Okay. So we're watching it together, and I just remember us jumping up and down, screaming. It was just such a great, very clear moment. And I'm so bummed my dad is not physically with us anymore for this process because I think he would have freaking loved what we're doing. But I feel him all the time, so I know he's helping me out.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the other one was when I was playing soccer. And I don't remember if it was something like a playoff game or what, but it came down to PKs and we needed one more goal to win and it was my turn. and I shot and I scored, and my mom came running out on the field like I had never seen her before. And when you're a teenager, you're like, oh my God, Mom. But that is a very vivid memory for me. That meant so much to me to have her be so good, and the whole team, we were all going crazy because we did it. But yeah, those are a couple of really big memories. Of course, watching so many sports over the years, there's just so many moments and so many great things. And I was at the very first WNBA game with the Sparks and saw Penny Toller's first basket.
We were there together.
Well, you'll be happy to know Penny is planning on being at the grand opening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A Long Beach legend.
Yeah, she's been great. And we met her a while back, and I pinged her and I said, hey, do you think you'd come? And she said, you're already on my calendar. And so
I love that makes me so happy.
Yeah, so that was like a really cool moment to be there for that. So there's just so many, because we just had the 25th anniversary of the 99ers. That was massive. So just too many to tell, but those are a few.
No, I think that's awesome. And then we have a fun game that we have here of did Angela cry on this episode? And I was just looking at Angela and she was just like welling up hearing your story.
I was like, don't do it.
But honestly, that's one of the things I love about doing this too. And I know that we don't do video, but we record with video. And so I can see her reaction. And most of the time I'm just
doing it again. Like, I can't control it at this point.
But I love it.
It's important. That's why.
It is. Yeah. And I know how passionate Angela is with sports and with what she's done and the support her mom and her tias and like her support group has given her and provided her. And so like whenever we talk to people that have had the same kind of experiences or are leading into that, I can see it in her, and it just makes me happy. Like it
We've been joking lately that for next ACFC season, like in our off season, to develop more stuff, we're gonna create a bingo card, and one of them is, or take a bet on how many times I'll cry over the season, and it's at least every other episode at this point. And sometimes it's just quiet, or I just get teary eyed. But my aunt played basketball in high school and college, softball as well. My mom managed basically every team and was a practice team member because she's the youngest of all her siblings, and was like, I wasn't going to be on the same team as them, but she's there at volleyball practice with one of my other aunts, just nailing serves for them to pepper around in practice. She's doing all of the sports things. My grandma was like, I would have loved to play sports if they'd allowed me, that kind of thing. So there's all these different generations. And then me and my friends in middle school got a petition signed to reinstate the girls basketball team in high school. So
nice.
We found out, the crazy thing, this is the most me thing that could have happened. I did a report in like 7th grade, I want to say, on Title IX. And
wow.
This was like late 90s.
I love this.
And tennis and how it changed women tennis and Billie Jean King and all that kind of stuff. I did this report, and then we found out like a month later that our high school was out of Title IX compliance because the amount of teams wasn't correct, and we found out there was no girls basketball team. But we had one at the middle school, and we're like, what are we supposed to do? And they're like, well, if you can get 2,500 signatures, then we'll think about it. And 2 months later, we're like, here you go. Like little 7th graders, listen.
Awesome.
Yeah. So for me, like the advocacy behind women's sports is also such a big part of it. Sports are political day in, day out. Doesn't matter what sport, which gender, what country, no matter what. But it's such an integral part of me as well. So it's like this big swirly feeling of, no, this is incredibly important. It shifts generations, it shifts families, it shifts socioeconomic status. There's so many levels to what sport can and does do that I'm like, if I can be a drop in the bucket to contribute to the good side, I will.
And you are.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, thank you.
You are, absolutely. She's crying again.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
so people know. But
That's
I love
true.
it.
Yeah.
How do you not express that emotion? You know, it's part of you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You go. I can't wait to meet you.
I know, I'm so excited.
Okay. With us being Casual FC, being a footy, a soccer podcast here, how active, and totally fine if you haven't been, but how active have you been with the NWSL? Have you been active with the league prior to ACFC? And have you been to ACFC matches so far?
We have watched games, absolutely. And then when ACFC came around, we were like, hey, should we get season tickets? And didn't. And then we did this season. And now we've barely been able to go.
We're a little busy, that's why.
We're a little busy. So that was a bummer because we actually just went, was it last weekend? I think we were there. What was it?
Yeah.
The
The
Rave
2-1.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were at that one and I was like exhausted and it was great because it was a night game and I was so excited to see it. I just love playing it. I used to love playing at night and I was playing and so excited for that. And then I was just wiped out and we're trying to figure out, we're pretty sure we're not going to be able to go to any other games the rest of the season. But any opportunity we get to go see, or watch, if it's not physically going to the games, we're trying to catch them on TV because we just feel like those matches are just so competitive and so much fun. Yeah. And we love our Claires and our Sids, and I can't wait for Kristen to come back. And but at the same time, the other night it was fun to see Rose out there. Rose, I think, is so great too, and so it was really fun to get to see them for a little bit. But any chance we get, we'll watch. And now I'm going to be immersed in it because it's going to be, we have 26 screens in our place. And so there's going to be some matches going on.
So nice of you to purposely build a place to watch ACFC matches just for yourself.
You know what? That's right. Just for me. Because I can't seem to get to watch them otherwise. But yeah, exactly.
We love when we see that's the thing that we've discussed about the NWSL is that because there wasn't a team in LA for so long, and there are, of course, there's fans in the league that have been part of the league and part of previous leagues, you tend to follow players. And so not everybody has a full allegiance to their like hometown team because they don't always have one.
Right.
So that's been somewhat of a criticism about BMO Stadium for Angel City matches is that it's a great crowd, it's a great environment, but it's not a very in the sports mindset. It's not intimidating for the other team because when the other team comes in, they'll have players that the entire stadium is cheering for. So it's no, you're not supposed to. Yes, Rose is on there. Don't cheer when Rose scores. That's not the right time.
Yeah. I can appreciate Rose, but I'm not cheering when she's scoring a goal against ACFC. So there's that. Yep. I'm just going to make that clarification.
In the preview episode for that match, I was like, Rose is really good at being in the right place.
Yeah.
At the wrong time for the other team.
That's right.
Like she just is perfectly placed when regardless if it's Angel City or another team, like there's a missed pass, there's a pass that goes a little too long. She's just there. Yeah. And it's same on the international level. Rose knows where to place herself to just magically be troublesome.
She's pretty freaking smart and knows how to anticipate. And that goes a long way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And honestly, we're doing our Olympic previews right now. And so we have 3 episodes coming out right before the Olympics covering all the teams as much as we can and just highlighting players and stuff. And we're definitely going to spend a while on the U.S. team and sing their praises. But then once the NWSL season comes back and you go back to your teams,
I don't know you.
Fair enough. That makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. We joke that I think it's a lot of people now. It's like the second the Olympic rosters are announced or World Cup, it's what team? I don't know this team. I am all for my country. Right. Just waving whatever flag as high as possible, screaming at the top of your lungs. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
It really is. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to open for the Olympics was because it's like, how often are most of you cheering for the same team, you know? And not to say everyone's going to be rooting Team USA for everything, but probably mostly. So it'll be fun.
Are you looking forward to any specific Olympic events? Now that we're talking about it,
I love the Olympics so much that I feel like, what am I not going to? We're going to have it all on. We're working on our schedules right now, and I really love the diving and the swimming and stuff like that because that was something I never was good at, and so I really am just fascinated by those athletes. And of course, got our soccer and our basketball and everything else. And then our original digital marketer just learned that she is going to Paris She is the guide on a tandem Paralympic team. And so Hannah, so Skylar Espinoza is the guide for Hannah, who is visually impaired, and they ride tandem cycling. And they just found out that they are going to the Paralympics in Paris. And I don't know what time that's going to be aired, but we're going to, if it's in the middle of the night, I think we're going to open for it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
We know Skylar, and we've met Hannah. They've actually been to our house for dinner, and they train out here at the velodrome, and so met them a couple times, and so it'd be really cool to catch them.
That's fantastic.
That has always fascinated me about Olympic sports is we're so used to seeing the professional sports and the people playing in the stadiums and things like that. And then we get to the Olympics where it's a bunch of people that are doing it for the sport and for the love of it and for the athleticism. And some of them are sponsored, some of them are not. Some of them are working at Home Depot. And like you get the stories of the, I remember, the guy I went to high school with, I will say an acquaintance because I knew him a bit. He was our high school quarterback. He ended up being an Olympic boxer. And he went to maybe not the last Olympics, but the one before that. But we just randomly came up through friends and social feeds. I was just like, wait, Dominic's a boxer? He's going to the Olympics? That's insane. He did pretty well for himself and everything. But it's just one of those things where it's, okay, yeah, no, but you're you. And you're there. That's awesome. That's just blew my mind. The stories of how these people can overcome what they're doing, and this is the way that they are, and getting ahead and getting to travel the world because of what they love doing. And it's always an amazing. I see how NBC gets like all their fun, emotional stories.
All the Mary Carrillo stories.
Yeah. They used to be called Up Close and Personal. Do you remember that? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
and it's true. It gives you the backstory behind. There's more to the person who you're seeing, maybe even just for a few seconds. It's great to get that backstory on everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We are getting to that point of wrapping up this episode. So, Jax, thank you so much for hanging out with us on a Sunday morning. I know you are spent. So carving out this little bit of an hour has been so much fun and so fulfilling. Thank you. Thank you again for opening the sports bar. Thank you for existing. I'm just going to start crying if I keep talking about it. So WatchMe's grand opening is slated for Friday, July 26th at 4 p.m. They'll be located at 6527 East PCH in Long Beach, and the zip code is 90803. It's where the United Artists movie theater was. It's where the Golden Spoon and the Trader Joe's were. It's in the complex just across the street, just across Second from the In-N-Out at PCH and Second. Like, it's right there. There's tons of parking, which anybody, even like folks in Long Beach, rejoice when it comes to parking because different parts of the city have none. Others have a ton, so it's crazy. But definitely make yourself comfortable and like know the city enough to get down there. Maybe not for opening day because it's going to be bonkers, I know. But every day after that, get down to WatchMe. You can follow them on social media, especially on Instagram at WatchMe_sportsbar. They're posting updates regarding opening and details on reservations and all the upcoming things you'll need to know.
As we can all imagine, this has been long coming. So demand is high. Demand is high, and there's only one place. Keep an eye on it because even if you don't make the grand opening, all of us will eventually find our way down there. So just keep an eye on their socials and know how to get there and when to get there.
Definitely. And if you are having trouble figuring it out, DM us. I will make sure you know exactly where it is.
Yes.
I am very well versed in the area. But overall, it does take a village. So if you want to get to know more about the sports bar, check out their website at watchmesportsbar.com. There's several different ways they can help. Engagement on social media is one, to get the word out there about the bar. If you want to help monetarily, there's different ways to do that. It's all on their website. You can help them via their crowd fundraising campaign. That's a lot of similar sounds. You can go to givebutter.com/watchme, and there's a whole bunch of details there. anything we can do to help, we will try. We are going to be part of your biggest cheerleaders in the area because I'm so freaking excited.
I can't thank you two enough. Truly, Mario and Angela, it's great to meet you today. And next time we'll see each other in person and hopefully and come say hey to me. But I just really appreciate the opportunity to get to tell a little bit of background about us and what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve. And we look forward to people coming out and checking us out and making us the place to watch ACFC games and everything else. Women's sports, and all ages are welcome, and anyone who loves women's sports are welcome. So come on.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best. I already know. I just have a really good feeling
I love it.
You and Megan are just going to have the best time.
Yeah.
It'll be like, it's a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's like the easiest position job-wise to be in because there's a lot of moving parts in the background. If anybody's worked in the restaurant industry, there's a gazillion things happening at any given moment, even when you're closed.
I've watched The Bear.
Yeah, but you two are just setting yourself up for so much success, and it's going to be amazing.
Oh, thank you so
I'm
much.
so excited
Yeah.
for you.
This is number 3. This is teary-eyed number 3.
All right. So as we hit number
Wrap
3,
it up.
as we hit number 3, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to. If you got this sent to you, check out casualfc.com. All the pod links are there for any place you want to listen. Apple, Spotify, whatever the Google version is now. I think it's just YouTube, but whatever. You'll find them all there. And some more that we don't even know about because we just click the check box and it's available. Best ways to support our pod are to, again, engagement. Just like for WatchMe, you know, the better the more posts you like, the more you comment on stuff, the better the algorithm likes it and the better it shares it with other people automatically. So go ahead and comment, like, share our posts or our episodes wherever you listen to them. Grab some merch from us, shop.casualfc.com. We have silly ideas all year round. Our Pride mug and glasses are still up there, and they will continue to be up there. They're not just a seasonal thing. So go check it out. And I started thinking about this recently because we do this for fun, and we only sell a few pieces every now and then. They're exclusive.
Yeah.
Like you only have
I know.
one of 3 or like one of 5. Like
Yeah, I
Even
know.
at that.
Our merch is exclusive.
yeah. And if you feel so inclined, help support the pod by buying us a coffee. You can check out our link on our socials, buymeacoffee.com/casualfcpod. Anything you send over has been an amazing gift. And like we said, if you can also help, WatchMe has their own crowdfunding source. Donate both ways if you can. Or if you're listening to this one and you do want to donate, why don't you just donate straight to them on our behalf?
Yeah.
And that would be amazing. Follow our socials at CasualFCPod on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok. And tell a friend about the pod because it brings us good luck. We will bank that because we need that come the new season, the restart of the season.
Yeah, the restart of the season for Angel City.
Yeah.
We need all of the help and the luck we can get. Some saging of the front office. I don't know. Something good needs to happen. So
Sounds
we
like
just gotta bake
a Casual FC Watch Me party.
Yeah.
We call our watch parties Watch Me parties.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll talk. It'll be in the works. We'll talk.
I can't wait.
So everyone, thank you for hanging out with us. Jax, thank you so much for giving us your time. And we will definitely be at Watch Me very soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you both.
Bye.
Bye.